Long ago in the land of Egypt lived a king so cruel, wicked, and full of hatred for the children of Israel. Pharaoh grew angry and feared their growing numbers and strength, and his anger waxed strong. In Egypt, the Israelites were slaves under the cruel rule of Pharaoh, forced to toil day and night. He commanded every Hebrew baby boy to be killed to control their population in the land of Egypt. But one Hebrew mother named Jochebed refused to surrender hope for her child, but rather hid him in a woven basket. She placed him in a woven basket and set it upon the Nile, trusting God to protect him. Pharaoh's daughter found the child and named him Moses, meaning drawn out of the water. Years passed. Moses grew in Pharaoh's palace, but he always felt he did not belong to Egypt. One day, Moses saw an Egyptian soldier beating a Hebrew slave and could not remain silent. "You dare not touch him." In anger, Moses struck the Egyptian and killed him, fearing retribution from Pharaoh. Fear gripped him. The next day, he saw two Hebrews fighting. They scolded him, "Who made you ruler over us?" Moses realized his secret was exposed. Fearful, he fled Egypt to the wilderness. Years passed, and Moses became a shepherd, tending sheep in the wilderness with years of living in the dark. In the wilderness, Moses saw a bush burning, yet not consumed, and God spoke from it. God said unto him, "I am the God of your ancestors. Go unto Pharaoh and say unto him, 'Let my people go.'" Moses returned to Egypt, his heart strengthened by God's promise and hope of what was to befall Egypt. He said to Pharaoh, "Let my people go." But Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he refused. God sent his first plague. The Nile turned to blood, and fish died throughout Egypt. Frogs covered the land, filling homes and streets, reminding Pharaoh of God's awesome power. Darkness covered the land, and locusts devoured crops, leaving Egypt in despair and disasters unending. When Pharaoh refused, Egypt was struck by 10 terrible plagues. Without excluding the death of all firstborn in Egypt, the spirit of death passed over Egypt, striking every firstborn, but spared the Israelites marked by blood. Terrified, Pharaoh finally commanded the Israelites to leave immediately, trembling at God's power. Pharaoh's army pursued them, racing across the desert to stop them, but they didn't know there was more to it. The Israelites reached the Red Sea, trapped between Pharaoh and the waters. Moses lifted his staff, trusting God for a miracle and show of wonders. To his greatest surprise, it happened. The Red Sea parted, walls of water standing tall on either side. The Israelites walked safely across, God guiding their every step up until the crossing to the dry path. Pharaoh's army pursued them, unaware of what was coming. Moses raised his staff again, and the waters returned with unstoppable force, and they all drowned. The army of Pharaoh was defeated. God's people were safe, and they watched the Egyptians drown. They praised God for his mighty deliverance and for triumphing over Pharaoh and the Egyptians at large. God had fulfilled his promise, and his people were free at last from all the torture in the land of Egypt.
Through faith, nothing is impossible when God guides your path and leads you.
The journey to the promised land had just begun, but God's hand was always with them.
This story reminds us that God's plan is perfect even in our darkest moments. God's power is mighty and his promises never fail. Even when enemies surround us, God makes a way where there seems to be none.
God's power is mighty, and his promises never fail with his ever-unending, lovely promises.
Moses became a leader, chosen by God to guide his people.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing Bible stories.